Let's jump to this next story. Donald Trump has formally launched his TikTok, and in like a day, he's got 4.5 million followers, and he announced it with this video at UFC.
The president is now on TikTok. It's my honor.
Of course, he's got Kid Rock playing.
So you noticed? Did you guys watch UFC? Watch the fight? What was it 2 days ago? It was absolutely fantastic. Some really great fighting. Strickland won, of course, because he's the best. And something great happened. Kevin Holland and Strickland, when they won their fights, jumped out of the ring and ran up to shake the hand of Donald Trump. The whole crowd is cheering for Trump. They're cheering. They're chanting, "We want Trump," and I think they were chanting FJB. The media is losing it. Look at this one. New York Post says, Aaron Rodgers, Sean Strickland have different reactions to Trump's UFC appearance. An absolute lie. A lie. They take this tweet from Ron Filipkowski. He says, Aaron Rodgers remains in his seat and ignores convicted felon Trump as he walks by tonight at UFC fight. Total lie. Aaron Rodgers posted a photo of himself shaking Trump's hand and called it priceless. The media is furious that Donald Trump in Jersey, he did this in New York too, can walk into UFC. These are normies. These are dudes who are just betting on sports, watching a sporting event. Joe Rogan's there. Trump walks up, shakes Rogan's hand. Rogan's smiling. All these big athletes they love Donald Trump. They cannot allow a narrative to exist where Trump is cool and cool guys like him. This is the problem they have. The reason why they need to claim that Aaron Rodgers snubbed him is because they need to be able to go to the people who aren't paying attention and say, major athletes don't like Trump. Nobody likes Trump. We're on the right side of history. Support Biden. Mm-hmm. The reality is you want to be one of the best. You want to be the best fighter. You want to be the best football, best baseball, best musician. You want to be the best podcaster. They're all cheering for Donald Trump. I mean, think about it. You got Strickland wins his fight. Holland wins his fight. They both jump over to shake his hand. Joe Rogan, the greatest podcaster, there shaking his hand.
But look also in that short video at his aplomb. Look at his spirit. I mean, guys, someone wants to search Ron Coleman's Twitter history. It has not been all rah-rah. There's some really good 2016 stuff in there, okay? This man is so... The people who despise him cannot conceive of that kind of personality, of that kind of self-assuredness and embracing life. Think of, in contradistinction of that lowlife, what's his name? The one who was filmed after Hillary lost, sitting and it looked like he was going to kill himself.
Ben Rhodes.
Ben Rhodes, who I tweeted last week. I posted on X that he was one of the few people who really manages to get under my skin.
He's pretty terrible.
He's just constant to be such a pathological liar. But how a man like that is broken, and how a man like this, no matter what else you think of him, and most of what you think of him that's negative is not relevant to his qualifications for president. You know, one of my things that my wife is always saying is, what you hear, the women, I don't like him. I don't like, as if they are considering him for a mate.
Or like a dinner guest.
Or a son-in-law. Anyway.
There's a funny viral post where apparently, like, I can't remember where this post was. Someone said they were at a party and then all the guys started chanting Trump and singing the national anthem, and all the women just started like looking at each other like, what do we do?
That's another thing that Jane always tells me. Women look at each other. Not all women, not a Brimolo.
I don't want to be lumped into this.
But women are more likely to look around and see what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, well, women look for social cohesion, right? Yeah. So there's a level of like, if they are surrounded by other conservative women, they behave differently than when you put them in, I don't know, in all women's college that's governed completely by left-leaning progressive academics. What stood out to me about the UFC fight, and I don't know if we have a clip of it, but when Trump walked out with Dana White, he's going through the crowd, and it reminds me of when fighters walk out and they're playing music, and it was like he was having his own walk out to the fight. Like the symbolic nature, the picture here could not have been any more powerful coming off the conviction, because it really gave this energy of like, well, we're just going to go into the match and fight now.
And now contrast this with his opponent. And it's an interesting call because you say, well, maybe since there is no one with a personality like that we could match up against him, we'll go with the non-personality. We'll go with the golem. We'll go with the, with this person who is being hung up on strings and reassure people that the system is running things. It's all on auto. It's all on automatic.
I'm surprised that doesn't frighten more people.
Well, I mean, you look at some of the things that people write about how it's like they actually seem to believe that he's a real person.
Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
Joe Biden.
Oh, Donald Trump's a real person. Seen it with my own eyes. Joe Biden's a real person, but not upstairs, right? I mean, we know that nobody's home.
No,
was it true in an Shabbat of pressure or Batacalf care when you realized it?
Say that again?
Was it Trin and Shabbat of pressure or Batacalf care when you realized it? I personally, I like Next Now Rescent, and now I'm a big fan of Pac Adelac. I don't know what Biden is trying to say, but I respect that he's trying to say
That's
it.
a joke. Okay, yes. Oh, please. No, but I knew it. Please, we knew it. We knew it during the campaign. I mean, he was shuffling around. But I mean, yeah, please.
I think Biden is almost surreal to the American people, in part because he has been a politician for so long that when he goes to like visit Scranton, where he grew up or whatever, he's actually probably spent right, but he's probably spent more time there on campaign trips than he ever has in an actual human capacity. Whereas Donald Trump, especially, the time that he spent in New York, he actually was a big part of New York's development, and he did have a relationship with, especially the construction industry and in buildings, and he seems more real almost because he just hasn't had this insulated bubble that Biden has. And I think this is one of the interesting things coming up against, we had this historic conviction of a president in New York, and now we're going to go to the federal trial of Hunter Biden. The first time, as far as I know, the child of a president has been brought up on charges like this. And it's such a contrast because he seems like just of a different world than the Trump family, even though theoretically they're all people who have, been in the White House and move in elite circles. They just don't read the same way to the American people.
We're all real excited about 2024, but I'm really curious about 2028.
That's an incredible statement of optimism on your part.
It doesn't mean it's optimistic.
No,
we can say
think there's going to be.
Yes. There's the famous quote. I know not which voting machines will be used in November of 2024, but in 2028 we'll be voting with sticks and stones.
Okay, so as long as we are clear on that,
that'll be it. How many rocks?
Which warlord will be?
We'll be buying things with bottle caps. The U.S. dollar will be worthless.
I'll start saving up now.
That's right.
Good to know.
Good to know how to get here.
You open a soda, you add one more cap to your collection to buy things with. Yeah,
that's why they're always pushing things into cans.
I'm fairly optimistic. I am. When you watch the UFC stuff and you see everyone screaming and cheering for Trump, their narrative doesn't work. Trump's donations show the polls can be whatever they want. Polls are trash, okay? We pull up the polls, and I'll mention who knows, because they're going to be like, we polled 1,000 people and found that 70% are voting for Biden. It's like also 70% of them were Democrats, and that's why we got the results. You know what you can't screw around with? Donations. Did someone give money? Did they give money? Yes.
All the money in the world couldn't get a single judge to actually look at the evidence of voter fraud.
Right, but what I'm saying is, to determine the popularity of Donald Trump, you can argue polls all day long. The pollsters choose how they handle their polls. And so we get biases in one way, margins of error. But with record-setting donations, it's actually quite simple. A record number of people are giving Trump money. That is indicative of his popularity. So they can say whatever they want. And that's why, a lot of people don't believe the polls when they say Trump's unfavorable. Right now, I think 538's aggregate unfavorability is like his favorability is like 30-something%. I'm like, I don't believe it. The guy walks in the UFC and the whole crowd screams and cheers, and he's in Jersey.
He's in Jersey.
Where was he? In Newark, I think it was. Where was it?
I'll double check.
I think it was Newark. They're all cheering for him.
Now, those people don't live in Newark, I can tell you with confidence.
But these are people who live
Prudential Center.
But they're within a drive. They're within an hour's drive.
Staten Island, maybe.
Staten Island. No matter right, choose your white enclave of choice. There are plenty of them in northern New Jersey and parts of New York. But you're 100% right. The only question is, has the system by which we choose our leaders has it become so utterly corrupt that popularity and actual votes cast? Look, if it were up to the Democrats, they would pass laws in every state guaranteeing mail-in ballots and
Guaranteeing?
requiring mail-in ballots. In other words, nothing but mail-in voting anytime you want. I mean, the point is, the idea is to funnel things through the precincts that have the power to affect entire states. Having said that, as I often remind people, if it were that easy, they wouldn't be going through all this trouble. They're going through a hell of a lot of, if it were just a matter of cheating, they wouldn't be going through all this trouble. Because after all, they are burning it down for them. It's fire, right? Yep. They're burning it down for themselves and their progeny.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.